Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted you have welcomed us into your home. We certainly would love to hear from you. So today, we're taking questions from you and comments from our viewers. If you're watching, it's Monday, it's a live broadcast. Please give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. If you are calling and you are outside North America, you can reach us at 205-271-2980, and you can always send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com, and check us out on Facebook. Well, it's Monday, and we put out a question over the weekend for many of you. What lessons have you learned about sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and his church? So we're assuming that you are sharing. We're assuming that you have ventured out and maybe invited someone to your church, or invited someone to a Sunday school class, or to a speaker, or I know what's very popular with the young adults is Theology on Tap, and we usually have great speakers, and they're happening all over the country. And so maybe you have some Protestant friends who have questions about your faith journey, maybe not even about the Catholic Church, just about faith and your relationship with Jesus, and ways that you share the love of Christ by just being you.
And you know, Joy, I find that there's a direct correlation between praying for opportunities to say the name of Jesus Christ. Well, if you just say his name, the name above all name, the name at which every knee shall bow and tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Am I praying for opportunities to share with anyone, anywhere, anytime, in my family, those that I work with, grandchildren, whoever it might be? Lord, give me opportunities to share you, and make me sensitive when these opportunities come, to be a good listener, to listen to this person, to, so to speak, land the plane of the gospel of the name of Jesus and the good news of the church where it needs to be landed. That's a very important principle. And so we want to know what you've learned, the times you've shared, the successes, the failures. Wish I didn't do that, or I didn't listen well enough, or I just said, you know, repetitive things that I felt like I should be saying, but it wasn't landing the plane on the runway. It wasn't landing the helicopter on the helicopter pad. See, how do we listen? Or I wish I had a resource to give to someone when I was done. Do you have something to hand to somebody? Maybe an EWTN highlight program, highlight about all the different shows and things that people can see, and Catholic Answers and the Coming Home Network, and so on and so forth. So I want us to think today, what lessons have you learned about sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and the good news of his church? Do you have a testimony to share? 1-800-221-9460, 1-800-221-9460. We want to hear from you. There's plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, remember that today we're taking your comments and your questions on our show. If you're watching, it's Monday, it's live. Give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. If you are calling outside North America, you can reach us at 205-271-2980. You can always send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. So the question is this: what lessons have you learned about sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and his church? And one of the lessons that I have learned is that there are a lot of people out there who are hungry. They are hungry to be told the truth. Just imagine, like, people just wandering to and fro, just they have no anchor. They're just being about life, and they don't know the meaning of life. They don't know the purpose of their lives. And they just kind of think like this is it. Now, you may be surrounded by so many religious people, Protestant people, Catholic people who are inundated in their faith, but the world is hungry. and you and I have the right and the joy and the privilege to share the love of God with them.
Joy, we have with us Adam Janke, the Chief Operating Officer for St. Paul Street Evangelization, www.streetevangelization.com. It's a wonderful ministry. We've had Steve Dawson on,
Yes.
who's a big leader in that ministry, and it's a wonderful website. They have a whole school of evangelization. So Adam, welcome to At Home with Jim and Joy.
Hey, Jim and Joy, it's an honor to be with you.
That's great to have you on board. So you know the question, you can take it any way you want. Sure, you have a lot of experience. What lessons have you learned about sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and his church? What do you have for us?
Oh, I love that question. You know, as a convert myself, I grew up Lutheran, and then in high school I became a Baptist. In college I became a Catholic, and so I have that experience of sharing my faith both as a Protestant, as a Catholic, and I think one of the most important takeaways that we have had as an apostolate has really been enshrined in our motto, and that is to listen, befriend, proclaim, and invite. Because as we went out and as we started doing street evangelization, and as you alluded to, you know, we live in this world that is dark and lost. What we discovered is just how many people were out there hungering for the truth and hurting, and how 2-minute conversations with folks could change their life forever.
Yes.
But most importantly, you know, we discovered that it was important to really earn the right to be heard, to listen to people, to befriend them, and then by discovering where they were at in their walk with God or in their search for truth, we best knew how to minister to them. So, you know, as somebody that had an intellectually driven conversion, you know, I discovered that so many people out there that are searching for truth, first we needed to befriend them. We needed to discover where their wounds, their pain, their hurts were, and minister to them in that moment by offering prayer, by just having a listening ear, by sitting down with a cup of coffee and having a conversation, and that friendship would open up the doors to their heart to be willing to listen to what the Holy Spirit might be telling them in that moment.
That's beautifully said. I think that listening aspect, you know, when we think of evangelization, the word itself has to do about proclaiming something, sharing something. So we think a lot about the content, how we're going to say what we're going to say. But really, in most situations and circumstances, we don't begin there. Like you said, it's with listening, and listening at every level to their words, to their body language, to their soul, to their spirit, and what seems to be the theme and what's going on with this person. And then maybe clarify, you know, what's going on, what's happening, and then what is the theme here, what's going on, and then to kind of, I call it landing the plane on the runway. What are you seeing? What are you hearing with street evangelization with people? You know, Joy said there's so much hunger, there's so much thirst, but people don't even know what they're hungry and thirsting for. So tell us a little bit more about the process and how to be a good listener and how to land the plane.
Right, yeah. You know, when you go out there and you start doing ministry like we do, and you're having these 2-minute conversations with people, you realize that everybody's all over the place as far as where they are at in their walk with God or in their search for truth. And so, you know, oftentimes though, because of the world that we live in and the pain that people are experiencing, whether, you know, right now it might be job loss or fear, you know, for their health, or a loved one has gotten sick or passed away. We can enter as Christians into that moment and really proclaim the goodness of the Lord. You know, he's the one in the midst of the storm on the boat who's calm, and the disciples are going, what's going on, Jesus? Don't you see the storm out there? And praying with people, because we found that, you know, as Catholic Christians, when we go out, we proclaim that truth. Okay, maybe I can't baptize a person in this moment. You got to go to RCIA, but I can pray with you, and I can pray for that peace that we're longing for right now. So we meet so many people, Jim, that are out there on the street right now. Maybe they're not walking around thinking about, oh, why do Catholics worship Mary? But they are walking around just with intense anxiety, intense hurt that they're trying to fill up with the things of the world. When, well, you know, you and I know, and our listeners know, what we really need is Jesus. And so we try to minister to people in that moment.
Adam, share with us about actually praying with people. and encourage the EWTN family, those who are looking in, just about to seize that opportunity, if it's something that's opening itself up, just to simply say, I mean, may we have a prayer together? Would you be open to that? And then actually praying with someone and the possible impact of that, and how we need to be praying for those opportunities, whether it's with families, friends, or out on the street, or wherever it might be, and not to be quite as hesitant as so many of us are to give opportunity to pray.
Yeah, you know, it's really supernatural ministry in the sense that we're inviting the Holy Spirit, that advocate, into the moment where I might say to another person and not put it on them to pray out loud, right? But I might just say, hey, can I say a prayer for you right now? I just love to pray with people. And nobody turns down prayer. I mean, the people that have told me that they're atheists, that they don't believe in God, that they're upset with the church, if I just say, hey, can I just say a prayer for you right now? I just love to pray with people. Everybody says yes. And then it becomes not about, me as the evangelist and what I'm trying to give this person. It becomes, God, what do you want to do in this moment right now? Yeah. And having that courage, whatever's going on in their life, whatever's happening, wherever that brokenness is, having that courage as a Christian to say, you know what, it's not about me. It's about God and what he wants to do in this person's life. And so I'm just going to pray out loud for this need right now. And we have a model that we follow called ACTS, adoration, contrition, thanksgiving, or supplication, or whatever the need is. That works really well for our evangelists.
Thank you, Adam. You did a great job. And yes, you encourage our family that we need to be out there. If people want to get involved, they need to go to street evangelization. If they're thinking, my goodness, maybe this is something I want to get involved with, they can go to streetevangelization.com where you will train them, equip them, and then take to the streets. And certainly they'll be more effective in any relationship they're in once they have the skill and the talent and the burden desire to share.
Adam, thanks so much, and keep up your great work. God bless you, brother.
All right.
Well, I liked what Adam said, and we encountered this at the Pregnancy Medical Center, where sometimes we say, because it's easier to say, or even in our family situations, I'll pray for you. Well, maybe right now, instead of I'll pray for you, can I pray for you right now?
Ask permission.
Right.
Say,
right?
may I pray with you?
Can I pray with you right now? I had a client the other day, and she had a really difficult situation, and at the end, she wept and she cried, and I heard her heart. I couldn't change the past, but I could love her right where she was. And in that moment, the best thing that I had was the peace of Jesus. And I said to her, can I just pray with you right now? And it wasn't going to change what had happened in the past, but it was going to come, and in that moment, give her hope, give her peace, and let her know that God loves her. And that sometimes when we're sharing with family members and we can't change things, and I think that's where we all get caught up, like, oh, if I say something, if I get committed in this relationship, it's going to cost me something. Well, it's going to cost you compassion and love and concern, and we need to be about that as a people.
And you
of
know,
God.
Joy, what I don't find with a lot of people is that they're not very hesitant to share what they believe.
Right.
And so some of it's really good, some of it's really immoral, some of it is really God offensive. The world doesn't seem to be, and some of our family members and friends, they don't hesitate for a moment to share what they believe. But we're like, well, I don't want to push Jesus on somebody.
I don't want to offend anybody.
And this is the difference between life and death, blessing and curse, heaven and hell. Now, if you don't believe that, there's not much of a reason to share. But we really do believe that there's eternal consequences. And so we want to listen to people, we want to pray for opportunities, and we want to be willing and able to give an answer for the hope that is within us, as the Word of God says, and to do it with gentleness and respect. We want to hear from you. What lessons have you learned about sharing the good news? So your successes, your failures, what have you learned about sharing Jesus and sharing the good news of the church?
Well, someone wrote in and said, when I've shared the insights and reflections that I've learned from you and other hosts on EWTN, many of my friends and colleagues have been motivated to learn more and more. They expressed their desire by communicating with me more often, and they're asking me questions about the faith. Thanks a lot to your program and to EWTN God bless you always. And this is Jordan on Facebook. And yes, you know, we need to listen to Catholic radio. We have many Catholic radio programs, Catholic Answers, where they're not even for the Catholics. They're saying if you're out there and you're Protestant, then you call in. And you listen and you learn and you understand and you have to think, would I have said that in that moment? Am I skilled and equipped in my own faith sharing that I would be able to know what to say? And sometimes it's not even giving the right answer. It's just being a listening ear and maybe crying with somebody or hugging someone when they need to be hugged, and being there and just listening and saying, well, is there anything else I could do for you?
Yeah.
And then it's just pure being a good human being. And we have to be better at that and invite people to church. When was the last time you invited somebody to church? Maybe you have a Bible study. Invite them to your Bible study. But ask, and hopefully they'll come.
Another comment here, Joy. As a fallen away cradle Catholic, the biggest impact on my reversion came from the sacrament of reconciliation. Sincere repentance led to an encounter in prayer at the Adoration Chapel. I heard an audible voice that said, "Accept my mercy." I used to go to Mass and just daydream as a kid, but now I'm studying the Catechism. And this is Denise on Facebook. Powerful. And see, that's part of your testimony, your
Right.
witness, so that there's plenty of other Catholics that you meet who are lapsed Catholics for whatever reason. They didn't understand the faith. They left. They were hurt within the faith. They committed a sin that they think cannot be forgiven. And we need to have a testimony. So that's not even per se sharing the gospel itself. You're saying, I was a lapsed Catholic. I went back, I made a confession. This radically changed my life at the power of grace in this sacrament. And now I adore the Lord in the Holy Eucharist. I'm learning my faith. I had a real genuine encounter. We have encounters with Jesus through the sacraments. This is what we need to share with lapsed Catholics who may never known that.
Right.
So many of us gone to church. That's my story. I didn't know what was really happening. I didn't know what was going on. The church to me was like a museum without a docet. So all these beautiful images, pictures, songs, something about the sacraments, but I felt like I wasn't instructed. We need the Word and we need the sacrament. And the work of evangelization is that you become the Word to somebody else. And so you might say, this didn't work for you, you were hurt. I just want you to know my story. I get what you're saying. But I had an encounter with Christ. I looked at it again. I tried the sacrament again. And this is what happened in my life. And then you might say to them, why don't you think about going to church, going to confession? Or I had one person that I was sharing with like that was so hurt in the church they couldn't go back. And so I was trying to listen. Lord, where do I land the plane? What do I do? And the Lord just, I think, said to me, say to them, maybe you can't go to confession, maybe you won't go to Mass. Can you just go to the church, the Cathedral of St. Paul downtown, and just walk in? It's open. Can you sit in the church? Can you just sit in the church? And this person said, I think I can do that. A member of the church for 40 years, lapsed. They said, I think I could just go in and sit in the church. So I didn't push them, go to confession, go to Mass, I said, just go and sit in the church. Because when they sit in the church, you know what happens? They just ain't sitting in the church.
Right.
They're sitting before the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords in the tabernacle. Amen?
Well, and it's in those encounters and in those moments where God comes and does beautiful things. And so that's why we have to invite. I mean, I have Protestant friends who say, well, when is the best Mass to go to? Well, every Mass is the best Mass to go to. Just come and sit and be. Maybe you don't understand it. Maybe it's all a bit too much for you. But just come and sit and enjoy the presence of God.
Wasn't it Jesus? I think it was him who finally said, where do you live and what are you doing and where do you go? Come and see. So sometimes it's not proclaiming the gospel in the nutshell. Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ is coming again. Repent and believe in the gospel. Let's pray now. I love doing that. But it's just like, why don't you come and see? You're thirsting, you're interested, or you're lapsed, or you were never baptized. Why don't you come and see? And I'll be there for you if you want me to come. I want to welcome you into the church. Are we doing that? We can do that if we're on fire for the Lord. But if we don't have ourselves, our own testimony, you can't give away what you don't have. So some of you listening here today, you're saying, well, what a question. What lessons have you learned? I don't share Jesus and the good news. God help you. Today is the day you have a little challenge. Because you have a way of sharing, you have a story that nobody else has, that Mother Angelica didn't have, that you have, that Almighty God has ordained for you to share with someone somewhere, even if you just say, I was blind, but now I see. Come to the Lord. Can I pray with you in a very humble way? And you'll be amazed what God will do. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, before you wrap up today's show, we're going to go to Rome to check in with Joan Lewis. Now, Joan, what are your thoughts on today's topic?
Well, hi, Jim and Joy, and what a terrific question you asked today. What lessons have I learned after sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and His church? But I guess we first have to remember that Jesus told the apostles, go therefore and make disciples of all nations. So He doesn't just invite us to share the faith, He commands us to do so. And how do we do that? Well, obviously when something is good, and frankly it can be brownies or college football or our faith, you share it with joy and enthusiasm, and others will surely respond to that joy and enthusiasm. Now, sharing faith with like-minded people, of course, is not that hard, but convincing the skeptical person can be a little more challenging. But I've discovered, anyway, for me, that sharing faith deepens relationships. And the more you share it, the more you become affirmed in your own faith. The more you learn, the more you want to pass it on. And I love it, for example, when I experience a new way of understanding an article of faith, maybe a Bible passage or a gospel story. And I immediately want to share that with people. I mean, it's like it's contagious. You want to say, did you know that? Now, I'd actually love to tell you a story about a way I share the faith that I got in my early years in Rome for EWTN. EWTN's Deacon Bill Steltemeyer had asked me to send him 400 holy cards of then Pope John Paul. And he said he always keeps a dozen or so in his pockets to hand out to people. Well, I sent him 400, and I bought 100 for myself, and I've been doing the same thing for years. And you never know when someone might need a jump start to their day. For example, in 2006, I was in Turin and I was covering Catholic stories at the Olympics. And on my last night, I went to a restaurant that I'd been to for several nights, and I gave a waitress one of these cards as a thank you. She'd been wonderful for so many nights with huge crowds. Well, you know what she did? It was a card just like this, but John Paul. She held it up to her heart, and she got tears in her eyes, and she said, how on earth did you know I needed this? Well, of course I didn't. But you know what? If you multiply that by hundreds over the years, you'll have some idea of the joy I've gotten from sharing the faith. So there's lots of stories like that, but no time to tell them, so time is up here. Back to you.
Joan, that's a wonderful testimony. And I want to say to all of our family out there, when you evangelize, you don't have to do that alone. And I would invite you to join the EWTN Media Missionaries, EWTNmissionaries.com, EWTNmissionaries.com. Go to it. The phone number should be right there as well. Call, people are waiting for you so that we can do this together. You can join right online, EWTNmissionaries.com, and share the gospel, the good news of Christ and the church with EWTN. We have plenty of free materials. We all pray together for opportunities. And it's something that we do together. So the whole burden's not on you, but we do that together. And you can get beautiful network highlights about all the various shows. It's important that you hand somebody a resource after you share with them, as Joan said, something on John Paul II. For us, it's the highlights of all the different shows. So that if you're saying, gee, I wish I could share like Father Mitch Pacwa, tell them where Father Mitch Pacwa is and what time he's on. I wish I could share like Catholic Answers, Jeanette Bankovic, whoever it might be, David Anders. And you've got all the information there, and you leave that with somebody and say, I tried to do the best I can. Here's a beautiful network, 24 hours a day, loving you and proclaiming Christ's love. Every Catholic is called to be a missionary of human dignity, redeemed by the cross. You're sent by God to evangelize the world. Do that with us. Do it with EWTN. God bless you and all of your loved ones. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.